Hey guys, this is Audrey Meyer and Gesine Haag, and we welcome you today to for another day of this amazing summit, Finding Your Superpower, Hack Your Body and Mind to Become Unstoppable. So today, Gesine and I will be talking about how to find your super goals. And I'm super excited about this interview because Gesine and I, we met like 10 years ago while kiteboarding together, right, in Cabaret, in my kiteboarding school. But let's start right away. Just before we get started, actually, guys, grab a pen and a paper, remember, because there's going to be so much value out there. So I really want you guys not to miss out and to take notes. So again, thanks for joining. Hi, Gesine, how are you?
Hi, Audrey. It's super nice to see you again and to be part of your program. That's a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And it's funny, just before we started recording, we were showing each other like the beautiful view, right? So lucky we are, so blessed and grateful to be able to work from home and have a beautiful ocean view in the back. So I know it was not always like that, Gesine. You had like a different life before. So could you just tell us a little bit about your background and about who is Gesine Haag, this superwoman from today? So just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I try to keep it short, but there is this life journey from my side where I started and dreamt big about what I may become, and then I became a businesswoman. So how you do it? I kind of was one of the key people launching Amazon into Germany, and then taking it from there, and then launching US companies into Europe, selling the companies, having my own startups, and being successful in the terms of many people. And for me, success means something different, and my superpower is not achieving something in the business world, but my success means living a truly happy life and unfolding my full potential. So I started traveling a lot. I started with surfing, with kite surfing, with free riding in the mountains, and it's all like a constant joy of exploring what I'm able to do. And this is the mindset that kind of opened more and more doors to the life I'm living now. And I became aware that we try to function, but this is not the superpower of humans. So I studied the last years the superhuman qualities and what makes us unstoppable. And I became a certified trainer from Mind Valley, the School for Humanity, so one of the biggest educational schools online. And I learned from people like Stephen Kotler, who wrote Stealing Fire, or the breathing from Wim Hof. So there are lots of different things that kind of make me and this body, gives me the tools to really kind of unfold. Yeah, and that's my journey, and I love to share a little bit what does it mean and bringing my full potential out so that every day feels like like really living. Yeah.
Love it. And I felt that when we met a couple of years ago, right? It's like you just glowing in this amazing energy with your family and your beautiful kids and husband. So I love that. And so you talked briefly about your superpower in you when you were talking about your background. But can you tell us a little more? Can you dive a little deeper about how you discover your superpower and really let it grow, let it shine?
Yeah, I think what many people tend to do is, and this is how I lived, to set a goal and then really focus everything and achieve the goal, to become very resilient and to cope with pain and to cope with any obstacle and to learn how to overcome it. And this is how I started my career. And it takes a strong mind to get there. What happened then? So we were traveling the world, and I have had this kick off an intention that I wanted to meet the kahunas, these old wise men. And I spent time with them, and through a contact, I could spend time with 5 different kahunas. And I realized later that this changed my world, because what they do, they did some sessions with me, and they shifted the way I see my power. So on Hawaii, you say you're born as a bowl of light, and everything is complete and is there. And this is the magnet for all the good happening in your life. And all it takes is like from there to take care of yourself, of your partner, of your family, and then you express to the world what you can bring to the world. When you start with doing that, you suddenly don't ignore what you feel, because suddenly the feeling shows you what you need. And before, in my business life, I slept under my desk. Yeah, I worked for hours and hours. I ignored being tired, being hungry, having pain, because I felt like this makes me stronger. From there, I started and listened to myself, and instead of pushing towards my goals, it was like being pulled. So it became a much more natural energy. And this also makes life so much more exciting, because everything is new and it's beyond what I can imagine what happens in my life, because it's not just what I set as a goal. When I achieve this goal after years and years, either you're kind of a little bit frustrated or disappointed that you didn't achieve it. So what makes this goal really, what does it really add to your life? So that was one of the most important experiences, I would say, which as I said, I realized much later. But since then, I tried to live that way.
I love it. I love it. And going back to the beginning of what you said, you were talking about mindset, and you were talking that following your mind and your feeling is so important. So can you dive a little deeper into, I know you're an expert on mindset, right? You're a coach and you talk a lot about mindset. So can we dive a little bit into that direction about mindsets?
I'm super happy to share. I mean, it's pretty incredible how we try most of the time to create the perfect life outside of us. And when we realize that bringing an image into our mind, like imagining a beloved person coming into the room or into the house, gives us almost the same chemical process than having the real person there. So seeing you right there, it brings up all the memories from Cabarete. And I think about the surfing we've done, about you kite surfing and so on. So that actually happens. So we don't, we're more trained to create the reality instead of creating the feeling, and from there come into much healthier state. So everything you can do with your mind is something that I studied a long time, and from the neuroscience base you really can measure it. And when you see already, when you think about something, how that affects your whole system, you can imagine how you can create a better life with your mindset. So for me, and I also was involved in training CEOs, training top athletes, and it first starts with a goal setting. So as I said before, but when you ask yourself, okay, if you want to, so take an example we can relate to, you want to do so my friend Doris, she wants to cross from Canary Islands the Atlantic, okay? And it's like someone defines, I want to run a marathon, yeah? This is okay, but it doesn't get you activated. When you ask then, why do you want that? Then you will hear her talking about her passion for the ocean, of raising awareness about the ocean, the wildlife, about collecting money for people who need it to clean the ocean. And then her whole system produces all the hormones to really get her going. So it's not like, okay, I reach a number, but emotionally, it means a lot to her. So that's one step to start. And then the next step, I mean, we all know about visualization, but just to share, I mean, there are really crazy studies. So from basketball players who, so one group was training 20 days every day. The next group was doing nothing. And the third group was just visualizing how they kind of put the ball in. And yeah, I mean, we would imagine it, but the group training was on the same level as the one visualizing. Yeah. And our system is just incorporating it. And if you visualize it in a very positive way, then it increases what you can do. And there are a couple of techniques to make it even stronger where we can dive into. I think we underestimate the power of emotion. I mean, we all know about flow states, and you love flow states, I love flow states. And why do we love it? Because it just feels like we have endless energy and everything is light and we are able, everything functions better. And we are able to do things in a very light and most perfect way, or better than ever. And there are ways with your mind to come in the flow state where you create happiness in your mind by the way you look at things and by the way you visualize things. And from there, it's much easier to create a vision. So when you start and say, okay, I want to run this marathon, but I feel awful. I feel I'm too slow. I didn't train, but now I want to train for the marathon. Your body is still in the state of, I feel very slow, I feel bad. So once you create the emotion of the future, where you feel like, okay, this is how I feel when I run through the finish line of the marathon. And when you really inhale the feeling, then your body activates already the energy it needs. So that's a very easy exercise. And one thing that not many people know, but there were studies, and I think it's pretty amazing, where people practiced forgiveness. And they tested how they are able to jump. And those who really kind of forgave in their mind big issues in their life, after these exercises, they could jump higher, as if they kind of got rid of a burden of heavy things. Yeah. And I just love these examples because it shows you don't have to train day and night. You can support it beautifully with your mind.
I love this. There was so much information here in what you say, Gesine. It was like I loved everything. But I want to just go back to what you say. You were talking about finding your why, right? Like this woman who wanted to cross the Atlantic. It's like once she knew finding her why, finding her passion, she really was able to do it. So, and to also visualizing, right? There's I do a lot of meditation, and I know we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that later. And I'm doing some meditation with Joe Dispenza, and Joe Dispenza says that your brain doesn't make a difference between what you visualize, what you dream, and about what really happened. So that really linked to what you just say, right? About visualization and creating a future. So I love that. I love what you say. I love about the basketball player, like who visualized throwing the ball in the hoop. Isn't this amazing? Wow. So those guys did not even practice, and just by the power of the visualization, they're able to improve. And we know that as kite surfer, when we can train in the water, right? We're trying to visualize to do a trick in our head, and then next thing when we go in the water, we just can do it better. So this is so strong, the visualization. Thank you so much for pointing it out. And I know you're also a big fan, Gesine, and you're doing a lot of meditation. So can you tell us a little bit more about why meditation would help you and empower you to reach your goals?
Yeah, and just referring to what you said, the whole visualization, I just have had it the other week with surfing. So I could visualize someone really strong, so where I feel the strength and how I paddle and so on. Just 2 weeks ago, I visualized a friend of mine who surfs super playful, super easy. And I just played that in my head, and it was kind of, you can say visualization or meditation, but it was so playful. And this morning when I went surfing, I just felt like, okay, this playfulness comes through, yeah. So it's not like you are this type necessarily, but what you feel and how you get to this feeling. And I really love to play with that. So when I go out for sports, either it's kite surfing, then I visualize the waves and how my heroes play in the waves. And what one way to support it with meditation is really like calming down, and there is a certain phase and from your brain waves, that's a theta. When you pass the theta brain waves, this is where your subconscious gets access, and that's a beautiful state. And it's not even necessary to explain how you get there, because we all go through theta when we go to sleep, so we can do that. It's just like by training a little bit, you can extend this phase, and this is where you can do some magic and really shift something. And for example, I've had fear from kite surfing because I had my accident, and I felt like this kicks in. So I went in my meditation in this theta phase and reprogrammed it with a joyful experience. And doing it more and more, this became more prominent. And the bad experience wasn't that prominent. It was like fading and being replaced. This is quite a good technique to do it in a very simple way. What is also a very nice meditation technique is when you envision your hero, and there's not necessarily a hero for all areas in life, but for example, let's say for surfing, you have the hero. I don't know who's your hero. You envision this person and you go in your meditation through the different areas, like how does this person approach the day? Yeah. What does the person do when there are obstacles? How does the person feel when he goes out or she goes out into the waves? What does she think? So you go through all the spectrums, what is their beliefs, and so that you feel it in all different dimensions. And then you imagine the feeling in your body and how this feeling expands. And it's like you become more and more, it's not just visualization, but it becomes deep into your whole cellular level. And this is quite powerful when you do it on a regular basis, that you just show up differently. And even the posture, how you show up, changes when you take different people. So that's something I really enjoy doing, because I do it for different areas of my life. Yeah. And it's helpful to visualize, but at the same time to move from the visualization, because these are other brain waves, to the feeling, and go from your brain to your heart. So, and then it becomes real, and then this is like a magnet. And this is what I do a lot with people when I do my coaching sessions and they want to change something in their life.
I love it. And I just had a flashback, and I know you have a big family and beautiful kids, and you know how when you look at kids and they play and they're like superhero and they're flying, you know, they totally can relate to that, right? If you look at them, they're actually copying their superhero. And talking again about kids, because you mentioned something earlier about being playful, and that you use this a lot as well. And I know it's probably because you have kids and you stay playful, right? But it's so important when you want to learn something new to stay playful, right? And to to use that. And you've been working a lot with kids, and you've been also training, working with the bands. Kids, maybe you want to add something a little bit into that.
I mean, I think this is one of the things that are totally underestimated, and you're so right. When you're playful, it's like everything is intuitively, and it's something where everything works together and you come into this flow, and you learn to cope with any outcome. You lose or you win, you try and you try again. And we try to control things quite often with our brain, but playing is all about any outcome is possible. And when you approach life like that, I mean, it's one super skill, right? When we're talking about superpowers right now, where the life is changing, and we don't know in which direction, we don't know what we can do really. One superpower is, so first of all, the mindset. So for me, that's our strongest gift. If we can keep our mindset as powerful as possible and keep it free and do what we like with it. And the other thing is agility, where no matter what happens, you can tune in and adjust to it. Yeah, quite important.
I love that, especially today, right, with COVID. If we don't have this bouncing back or changing, being flexible, we get stuck and we can grow. And I mean, I think today it's a time when we can learn so much because we have a little more time. We can be a little more aware, self-aware, and just learning so much. So you're so right, talking about mindsets. Thank you so much, Gesine, for just sharing all those value. And I know you have a great gift for the audience. I love it. So can you just tell us a little bit more about, go into more details about what it is and how it can help people?
So I'm sure you have a lot of wonderful experts, and what I realized when looking at my life and when I'm coaching, quite often you want to find something that excites you, where you say, this is kind of my goal and my purpose, and this is also the grounding, the foundation for unfolding the superpower. So I like to share tools how to find your goal that creates this incredible motivation and that brings you from the pushing mode. I push myself and everything in one direction into the pull mode, where you become one with your goals, and it just kind of seems to happen naturally.
I love it. I love it. And we all have superpower, right? We just need you coaching or your tips to be able to find what it is and then let it blossom, right? Let it grow. Thank you so much. This is so generous. Gesine, this was great. You have a wonderful day in a beautiful place. And I wish you guys, thank you for following us. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Gesine, bye. Have a good day. See you. Bye.
Thank you.